Everyone talks about how affordable Pittsburgh is, and that's true at the entry level. But there's a whole other version of this market that barely anyone covers, and it's the one where the real surprises happen. If you're shopping for a luxury home in Pittsburgh in 2026, the standard advice that you find online was written for someone else. These rules here are different. The negotiation is different. The pitfalls are different. And the opportunity is genuinely unlike anything that you'll find in a comparable city. Today, we'll talk about Pittsburgh's luxury market and tell you the things most buyers only find out after they have already made an expensive mistake. Let me start by clarifying what the word luxury actually means in this market, because if you're coming from a coastal city or even another major Midwest market, your mental image of what a $1 million home looks like is probably wrong for Pittsburgh. I have been working in Western Pennsylvania real estate for years, including in the luxury segment. And one of the first things that I tell every luxury buyer relocating here is this: Pittsburgh's luxury market is one of the most genuine value propositions in the entire country right now, but only if you understand what you're actually buying. One thing I personally see with relocation buyers is that many come into Pittsburgh expecting luxury to look similar to other markets, and they are genuinely shocked at the amount of space, land, and architectural character they can get here compared to where they're coming from. In most major US metros, $1 million gets you a modest home in a decent neighborhood. In Pittsburgh, according to local MLS data, $1 million gets you a genuinely impressive property. We are talking 4,000 to 6,000 square feet, mature landscape lots, high-end finishes, and in many cases, views of the river valleys and city skyline that are legitimately breathtaking. The upper tier of the Pittsburgh luxury market, properties in the $2 million to $5 million range, competes on a quality of finish and setting basis with homes that would sell for $10 to $15 million in comparable coastal markets. According to updated market standards, the luxury tier in Pittsburgh is generally defined as homes priced above $900,000, reflecting the market's appreciation in recent years. That threshold matters for buyers because it means inventory of true luxury properties here is deeper and more varied than you would find in a market where luxury only kicks in above $1.5 or $2 million. That smaller buyer pool is actually one of the most important dynamics in this market, and it affects everything from how long homes sit on the market to how deals get structured. We're going to get into all of that, but first, you need to understand the specific neighborhoods where Pittsburgh luxury actually lives, because they're not necessarily the ones that you would guess. The right neighborhood in Pittsburgh's luxury market is not just about prestige. It's about understanding the specific micro markets where luxury properties are most consistently valued, where appreciation has been the most reliable, and where the community and setting actually match the price tag. Let me show you what that just looks like. Pittsburgh's luxury market is not concentrated in one neighborhood. It's spread across several distinct communities, each with a very different character and buyer profile. Understanding the differences between them is one of the most valuable things that a luxury buyer can know going in. Fox Chapel is the one that most people think of first, and for good reason. Situated in the eastern suburbs of Allegheny County, Fox Chapel is a borough that has maintained its reputation as Pittsburgh's most prestigious residential address for decades. According to local MLS data, median prices in Fox Chapel have surged, with the median for luxury listings now sitting around $2.2 million and exceptional estate properties pushing well above that. The lots here are large, the privacy is genuine, and the Fox Chapel Area School District is one of the most highly regarded in the state. One thing buyers should know going in: while well-priced Fox Chapel homes can sell in under 45 days, trophy estates at the very top of the market sometimes sit for 6 months or more because the buyer pool at that level is extremely thin. That's not a red flag. It's just the reality of the market, where the most exceptional properties require the most patient sellers and the most specific buyers. I have toured some truly incredible properties in Fox Chapel over the years, and many buyers are surprised at how private and secluded some of these estates feel while still being relatively close to downtown Pittsburgh. Sewickley is a completely different experience. Where Fox Chapel is spread out and private, Sewickley has a genuine village character. It's one of those few places in Western Pennsylvania where you can buy a multi-million-dollar home and still walk to a hardware store, a coffee shop, and an independent bookstore on the same afternoon. The Sewickley Heights section carries prices similar to Fox Chapel at the top end, while the luxury village corridor has seen a surge, with high-end properties now consistently hitting that $1.4 million mark. You will find incredible properties here ranging from $1 to well over $3 million, buyers that offer both the setting and a community feel. According to local MLS data, Sewickley has seen some of the strongest luxury appreciation in the Pittsburgh metro over the past 5 years, driven by demand from corporate relocators and buyers seeking a lifestyle without the isolation. A lot of my luxury buyers who initially thought that they wanted large isolated estates end up gravitating towards Sewickley because they love the ability to actually walk into town and feel connected to a real community. The Virginia Manor section of Mount Lebanon and Upper St. Clair has emerged as a luxury alternative that tends to surprise buyers who discover it. Virginia Manor, in particular, is one of Mount Lebanon's most architecturally significant sections, with stately homes on larger lots that consistently sell for $1 to $2.5 million and attract buyers who want established suburban prestige with proximity to Pittsburgh's South Hills corridor. Upper St. Clair carries a similar profile with newer luxury construction options and one of the strongest school districts in western Pennsylvania. According to local MLS data, luxury pricing in this corridor runs from $900,000 to $2.5 million depending on the specific property and its condition. In Washington County, Peters Township has its own luxury tier in the $700,000 to $1.2 million range, with newer construction estates that attract executives who want a modern build with a space and a neighborhood with top schools. The Washington County setting offers a different lifestyle and buyer profile than the Allegheny County luxury communities, and it represents a genuinely compelling value relative to comparable new construction in the Pittsburgh metro. Now you know where the luxury market lives, but here's where most luxury buyers make their biggest mistake. They assume that because they are spending a lot of money, the process will be smoother and more straightforward than a standard purchase. It is often the opposite. Let me show you why. The luxury market in Pittsburgh has some quirks that genuinely catch buyers off guard, including experienced buyers who have purchased high-end homes in other cities. Here are the ones that matter the most. The first one is days on market. Luxury properties in Pittsburgh sit on the market longer than comparable homes at lower price points. According to local MLS data, the average days on market for luxury properties above $1 million in Allegheny County is significantly longer than the broader market, often 60 to 90 days or more for a well-priced listing. Buyers coming from fast markets sometimes interpret a long days on market as a problem with the property. In Pittsburgh, luxury is often just the reality of a smaller buyer pool. The practical implication is that you have more time than you might think, and you should use it. Don't let the tight timeline that you have imposed on yourself rush a decision on a $2 million home. I can't tell you how many luxury buyers panic when they see a property sitting for 70 or 90 days because they assume that something must be wrong. In Pittsburgh's luxury market, that is often completely normal. The second one is the appraisal challenge. Luxury properties in Pittsburgh are notoriously difficult to appraise accurately because the comparable sales pool at the high end is so small. A 4,000 square foot estate in Fox Chapel may have only 2 or 3 genuinely comparable sales in the past 12 months. Appraisers working with thin comps can come in conservatively, which creates tension in transactions where a buyer's financing depends on a strong appraisal. This is one of the primary reasons why cash offers hold a disproportionate advantage in Pittsburgh's luxury segment. If you are financing a luxury purchase here, understand this dynamic up front and work with a lender with genuine experience appraising luxury properties in this market. I have personally seen situations where 2 appraisers looked at the same luxury property and came in with very different opinions simply because the comparable sales pool was so limited. The third one is condition variability. Pittsburgh's luxury stock includes a wide range of ages. Some properties are relatively new construction, others are historic estates dating back to the early 20th century. The prestige address and the impressive curb appeal can mask significant deferred maintenance in an older luxury home. A $2 million Fox Chapel estate that has not had its systems updated is not the same as a new construction property at the same price point, and the inspection process needs to be approached accordingly. Never skip or shortcut the inspection on a luxury property in this market. The scale of potential issues is proportionally larger, and so is the cost of finding out after closing. Some of Pittsburgh's historic luxury homes are absolutely stunning, but I always remind buyers that beautiful woodwork and impressive curb appeal do not automatically mean the mechanical systems have been modernized. The fourth one is the property tax calculation, and it has a specific, very important update in 2026. Luxury properties in Allegheny County are subject to post-sale assessment appeals from school districts, and the dollar impact at these price points is proportionately large. What most people don't know is that this is not a mystery or a guessing game. The outcome is driven by a specific formula based on the common level ratio, CLR, CLR. In Allegheny County, the CLR dropped significantly again for 2026, falling to 50%. And what that means in plain terms is that when a school district appeals your assessment after your purchase, the resulting adjusted value is calculated using that roughly 50% ratio relative to your sales price. So on a $2 million purchase, the new assessed value, which is the number you actually pay taxes on, would likely be set around $1 million. This effectively cuts your potential tax exposure in half compared to states that you get taxed the full $2 million sticker price. Your new tax bill will be much higher than what the prior owner was paying on an old assessment, but significantly lower than what full sticker price taxation would look like in most major other states. Before you close, have a specialist run the calculation. While the current 50% ratio is a massive win, remember that in Allegheny County, you're often looking at a 1-year lag. So if you buy in 2026, the school district's appeal will likely impact your 2027 tax bill, not your first year. That means that you need to escrow and plan for that jump a year in advance, so it doesn't catch you off guard when it arrives. Let me stop here, because we're getting to the part of this video that I think will genuinely change how you approach a luxury purchase in Pittsburgh. We have covered what luxury actually means in this market, where the best addresses are, and the specific pitfalls that even experienced buyers can get caught off guard by. What comes next is the strategy side, where you can turn every one of those challenges into real leverage. But before we go there, if you're planning a move to the Pittsburgh area and want a comprehensive head start on neighborhoods, employers, school districts, and cost of living numbers, I put together a completely free Pittsburgh relocation guide. You can download it in the description and the top pinned comment. For anyone new here, hi, I'm Diane McConaghy, your Pittsburgh-based realtor and relocation specialist. My team works with buyers and sellers every day throughout Allegheny, Washington, Beaver, and Butler counties, including the luxury segment, and we're here to make sure that your move into this market makes complete financial sense. So let's talk strategy. Negotiating a luxury home in Pittsburgh is genuinely different from negotiating a standard purchase and different from luxury negotiation in most other cities. Here's how is the right way to do it. The first thing is to understand that price reductions in luxury segment are more common here than in most markets. Because the buyer pool is smaller, motivated sellers will move if they have been on the market for a while and you present a credible, well-structured offer. According to local MLS data, luxury properties in Pittsburgh have historically closed at an average of 3 to 5% below the original list price. That range has tightened compared to prior years as inventory has stayed historically low. So buyers should not walk in expecting to negotiate a massive discount. But at the price points that we're talking about, even a 4% reduction on a $1.5 million home is $60,000. That is real money, and it's absolutely achievable with the right approach. One thing I consistently tell buyers is that luxury negotiations in Pittsburgh are far more relationship driven than aggressive. Sellers want to feel confident that the buyer can actually close. But here's the nuance. The way that you get that discount in Pittsburgh's luxury market is not by coming in with a lowball number. It is by coming in with a clean, credible offer that signals to the seller and their agent that you are a serious, prepared buyer who can close without drama. Luxury sellers in Pittsburgh are not typically in financial distress. They are usually patient and they have options. A disrespectful offer does not just get rejected, it closes the negotiation entirely. Lead with credibility, follow with data, and present your offer reasoning clearly through your agent. The data you use to justify your offer matters enormously. Your agent should pull every genuinely comparable luxury sale in the relevant micro market from the past 12 months and use that as your foundation for your offer price. In Fox Chapel, that might mean 6 to 8 sales. In the Upper St. Clair or Edgeworth corridors, it might mean 3 or 4. The smaller the comp hole, the more important it is to have an agent who can articulate the reasoning behind your number clearly to the listing agent on the other side of the transaction. The inspection period in a luxury purchase is also a more powerful negotiating tool than most buyers use. At the $1 million plus price point, a thorough inspection will almost always surface items. In Pittsburgh's older luxury stock, those items can be significant. Rather than threatening the inspection as a pass-fail moment, approach it as a second round of financial discovery. Every major item your inspector finds is a data point for a credit request or a price adjustment. An experienced luxury agent will help you triage those findings into what is worth pushing for and what you let go of as part of the premium property experience. I have seen inspections uncover everything from outdated electrical systems to aging slate roofs and hidden moisture issues in very expensive homes, which is why I never recommend shortcutting due diligence at this price point. One more strategy point specific to Pittsburgh. If you are in a position to make an all-cash offer or an offer with a significant cash component at the luxury level, use that. In a thin buyer pool market where appraisal risk is real, sellers of luxury properties place a very high premium on certainty. An all-cash offer at a slightly lower price than a financed offer at a higher price will frequently win in Pittsburgh's luxury segment. That dynamic exists elsewhere, but it is amplified here by the appraisal challenge that I mentioned earlier. You know the market, you know the pitfalls, and you know how to negotiate. The last piece is the one that most buyers realize matters only after they have closed, and it's the one that determines whether your luxury Pittsburgh home becomes a great long-term financial decision or just an expensive one. Buying in the luxury segment is one thing. Buying a luxury property that holds its value and appreciates over time is another. In Pittsburgh's market specifically, those two things are not automatic, and here's what separates the luxury properties that perform well over time from those that do not. The first factor is neighborhood trajectory. Luxury properties in communities with strong institutional demand, great schools, and low inventory, like Fox Chapel and Sewickley, have historically maintained their values through market cycles better than comparable properties in areas with less structural demand. According to the National Association of Realtors data, luxury markets in cities with stable employment basis and constrained supply have shown more consistent long-term appreciation than those in cities that depend on a single dominant industry or employer. Pittsburgh's diversified economy, anchored by healthcare, education, technology, and advanced manufacturing, is one of the reasons its luxury market has remained relatively stable even through national market volatility. Over the years, I have watched certain luxury communities consistently outperform others simply because the long-term demand and lifestyle appeal remained strong regardless of what the broader market was doing. The second factor is the uniqueness of the lot and the setting. Luxury properties in Pittsburgh that have genuinely unreplicable features, a riverfront lot, a hilltop with a panoramic city view, a historic estate with irreplaceable period architecture, tend to hold their value better over time than luxury properties that are primarily defined by interior finish quality. Interior finishes age and trends change. A view of Three Rivers does not. When evaluating a luxury property, weigh the uniqueness of the setting and the land as heavily as the quality of the house. The third factor is the cost of ownership projection. A luxury home in Pittsburgh has higher absolute costs than a standard home, but the ratio of those costs to the purchase price can be very favorable relative to other markets. Property taxes, even on a significant estate, are often lower here than comparable properties in the coastal luxury markets these buyers are coming from. Maintenance costs scale with property, but the base labor cost in Western Pennsylvania remains lower than in most coastal metros. Running an honest 10-year cost of ownership model before you buy, including taxes, insurance, maintenance reserves, and any capital improvements you know are coming, gives you the full financial picture. The fourth factor is exit accessibility. Luxury properties in Pittsburgh that are priced in ranges where there is a genuine buyer pool depth, roughly $700,000 to $2 million, have better exit liquidity than properties at the very top of the market. If your lifestyle calls for a $4 million estate and your heart is set on it, go for it. But understand that when you eventually sell, you are marketing to a very small group of buyers. If having a clear exit path matters to your financial planning, staying in the more liquid part of the luxury range gives you more flexibility when life changes and you are ready to move on. Pittsburgh's luxury market is one of the most genuine value stories in the country right now because what $1 million buys here simply does not exist in comparable markets. The pitfalls that catch buyers off guard are long days on market for thin buyer pools, appraisal challenges from small comp pools, condition variability in historic luxury stock, and the CLR-based post-sale tax recalculation in Allegheny County, which for 2026 sits at just over 50%, meaning you can calculate your future holding costs with real precision rather than guessing. The negotiation strategy that works here is credibility first, data-backed pricing targeting, a realistic 3 to 5% discount from list, strong use of inspection periods, and cash or cash-like offers when possible. And the long-term value factors are neighborhood trajectory, uniqueness of the setting, honest cost of ownership modeling, and staying in the luxury range with real exit liquidity. If this gave you a clearer picture of how Pittsburgh's luxury market actually works, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. We cover the real insider side of Western Pennsylvania real estate every week. When you're ready to get serious about a luxury purchase anywhere in Allegheny, Washington, Beaver, or Butler counties, reach out to me direct. My contact information is right below this video. Buying in the luxury segment requires a very specific kind of local expertise, and I want to make sure that you have it in your corner before you make one of the biggest financial decisions of your life. Also, grab the free Pittsburgh relocation guide in the description. Whether you are in the luxury segment or anywhere else in the market, it has the neighborhood breakdown, breakdowns, employer data, and real cost of living numbers that make every conversation you have with an agent or lender more productive. And when you're done here, watch my next video, Where Pittsburgh's New Ultra Wealthy Choose to Live. I go deep on the absolute top tier of this market, the properties and communities where Pittsburgh's most successful residents are choosing to put down roots, and why those choices tell you something important about where the city is headed. I'm Diane McConaghy, your Pittsburgh Realtor and Relocation Guide, and I will see you in the next one.